A relaxation oscillator is a carefully engineered physical system, specifically designed to chase an equilibrium state it never actually reaches. In electronics, we build this using an astable multivibrator. Upon powering on, the circuit permanently bounces between a logic high and logic low, completely devoid of a stable resting position. This diagram maps the core operational loop. An external capacitor charges up to exactly 2/3 of the supply voltage, at which point the system instantly reverses, discharging the capacitor down to 1/3 before repeating. The 555 timer functions as a rigid, intelligent switch, responding to the voltage levels on the external capacitor, rather than generating its own internal timing pulse. This oscilloscope trace demonstrates that relationship. The slow, analog sawtooth wave of the charging and discharging capacitor perfectly triggers the rigid digital square wave output below it. The 555 timer translates the physical limits of electrical charge into a precise, continuous digital pulse. This diagram reveals the internal architecture of the 555 timer. The process begins with an internal voltage divider. 3 identical resistors split the incoming supply voltage into exact thirds. These nodes establish the hard-coded 1/3 and 2/3 reference points for the entire chip. 2 internal comparators act as sentries. Their job is to constantly measure the external capacitor's voltage against those specific reference points. The upper comparator triggers when the voltage hits the 2/3 maximum limit, and the lower comparator triggers when it drains down to the 1/3 minimum. Once a limit is reached, the comparators pass their binary decision directly into an internal SR flip-flop. The flip-flop controls 2 things simultaneously. Its Q output drives the main output pin of the chip, while its inverted Q bar output toggles an internal discharge transistor on and off. Continuous oscillation relies entirely on these simple internal logic gates, strictly enforcing fixed analog voltage boundaries. This schematic illustrates phase 1 of the cycle, starting with a drained capacitor. Because the internal discharge transistor is in the off state, current flows from the supply and travels through both external resistors, R1 and R2, gradually filling the capacitor. The voltage climbs until it hits the 2/3 threshold, forcing the internal comparators to flip. This logic flip turns the internal discharge transistor on, initiating phase 2. This schematic details the phase 2 discharge path. Current reverses, draining out of the capacitor and sinking into pin 7, completely bypassing R1. This state matrix summarizes the complete inversion of every internal component between phase 1 charging and phase 2 discharging. Because charging requires current to push through 2 resistors, but discharging only uses 1, the time required to complete phase 1 will always be longer than phase 2. To predict the exact speed of the oscillator, we must calculate the precise time it takes to move between those 2 voltage thresholds. This breakdown begins with the standard transient analysis formula for a charging RC circuit. By substituting the variables with the 555 timer's exact thresholds, we map the target voltage to 2/3 VCC, the initial to 1/3, and the resistance to R1 plus R2. Notice that the supply voltage variable, VCC, cancels out algebraically. The timing of a 555 timer is entirely independent of fluctuations in the power supply.
By isolating the time variable, T1, the equation simplifies until the exponential term equals exactly 1/2. To extract T1, we take the natural logarithm of both sides. The resulting timing multiplier is the natural log of 2, equaling exactly 0.693. These final timing equations show that the 0.693 constant is an inescapable mathematical consequence of charging an RC circuit exactly halfway toward its steady-state target. This formula defines the circuit's duty cycle, the ratio of T1, the time the output stays high, divided by the total time of the complete cycle. Look closely at the components of the fraction. The numerator is R1 plus R2. The denominator is R1 plus 2 times R2. Because R1 must hold a resistance value greater than 0, the numerator will always be strictly greater than half of the denominator. The duty cycle is mathematically locked strictly above 50%. On taper, the obvious workaround is to force a 50% ratio by completely removing R1, setting its value to 0 ohms. But in physical reality, zeroing out R1 triggers an immediate physical failure. When phase 2 begins, the internal discharge transistor turns on. Without R1 to limit the current, that transistor is exposed to a direct short from the supply voltage to ground, drawing massive current and instantly destroying the chip. The standard astable configuration pits mathematical theory directly against physical hardware limits. You cannot solve the duty cycle problem by simply erasing components. To safely circumvent this mathematical limitation, we need an engineering solution that fundamentally alters the current paths, a bypass diode. This schematic modifies the standard circuit by wiring a diode in parallel across resistor R2. During phase 1, this diode becomes forward biased. It creates an expressway of negligible resistance, allowing the charging current to flow through R1 and entirely bypass R2. When phase 2 begins, the diode is reverse biased. The discharging current is forced back through R2 as normal. This hardware adjustment rewrites the charging equation. T1 is now calculated solely using R1, removing R2 from the charging phase entirely. By utilizing the directional nature of a diode, we decouple the two timing phases. This independence makes it possible to set R1 and R2 to equal values and produce a perfect 50% duty cycle. This specification sheet outlines a practical target. Design a relaxation oscillator outputting a 10 kHz square wave at 50% duty cycle. We calculate total cycle time by inverting the target frequency. 1 divided by 10,000 Hz equals 0.1 milliseconds. Next, we select a standard, easily accessible capacitor value, 0.1 microfarads, to isolate the final resistance variable. With all other variables known, we run the modifies formula to solve for the target resistance, arriving at roughly 720 ohms for both R1 and R2. However, an ideal bypass diode only exists on paper. On a physical workbench, the diode will have a slight forward voltage drop that gently skews the theoretical math. To counter this, the final circuit uses the potentiometers instead of fixed resistors. This allows the designer to precisely manually tune the resistance values while observing the output on an oscilloscope. True engineering requires mastering both the perfect transient math on paper and the imperfect physical realities on the workbench to bring an oscillator to life.